From a super dragged storyline to forced reminders of the past, there's a lot that didn't sit right with the fans. It looks like Outer Banks Season 3 might have ended up becoming the problematic child. Here's everything that the fans hated about the third season. So apparently, this time it just didn't feel right, because the show has exhausted itself. Yes, that's right, fans believe that the superficial teen series has already exhausted itself, and fans are not having it. According to them, the show has dragged the storyline enough, and there's no fun left. In short, fans are not very delighted by the overall storyline, and it's actually understandable. Apparently, this new season has proved that the show is as lost as it was in the first season. In fact, some even say that the narrative itself is totally lost, and there's nothing that the showrunners have done to put it in a place. It, at times, feels like most events don't even matter.
You don't have to say it like that.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
It sounds so barbaric.
Wow.
Okay, John B., your turn. Truth or dare?
All right. Truth.
Truth?
Truth.
The biggest example is the scene where instead of chasing after the thieves, one of the antagonists just let it go. How lazy one has to be to do that, not even trying to defend the stuff that's been stolen? The explanation for this matter wasn't even enough and left the fans feeling like the showrunners were just tired. Anyways, the characters gave off the vibe that they were not bothered by anything at all. And there's another thing that fans potentially didn't like much: the cartoonish behavior of the characters. While the beginning of the season itself was quite disappointing, the rest also just made it worse, and I can't even disagree with what they had to say. Fans pointed out that the showrunner simply tossed every other matter aside when the seaplane appeared on the scene. The characters believed that they had been rescued and didn't even bother thinking if the person on the plane was even a friend or not. The conflict after they realized that they may not be in safe hands was what fans thought was cartoonish. After all, the plane crashes and everyone just seems okay. While it was supposed to be a great deal of action, the scene instead became a dose of distasteful fun. All in all, it's simply not working out. Not to mention, fans weren't happy with the melodramatic business either.
I've almost got the new papers ready, you know? Passports, bank accounts. I got this.
I like the Mad Dog part.
Just put that back. Put it back. Be cool.
Apparently, the reminder of past happenings didn't feel right. Outer Banks has a custom of reminding its viewers of what happened in the previous seasons, but in Season 3, with the narration being practically forced onto the fans, it didn't feel so right to some viewers. The series continued to put a recap of some of the most minimal details that most of us didn't even remember. With John B. finding some familial connection and the action scattered here and there, the new season didn't even touch the darker territory. Instead, it only revolved around the same old elements that gave the fans a moment of shock and then fell again into the monotonous tone. In fact, the shootout on the water wasn't much fun either. Some fans even said that it looked more like a joke than actual action. With that said, fans wonder if any character would die. The show keeps making the characters fall into the pit of death, and then they just pop out of it alive. Here, I'll have to say that there's no way in heck that they'd kill a main character as long as they plan on making more seasons, which they obviously do.
Regardez sur votre tablette, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, d'accord.
Ça va, merci.
Fans believe that no matter what kind of deadly stuff happens, some of the characters are being protected by plot armor. You saw how John B. didn't even have a scratch? The show will continue to play it safe since it looks like they believe that the removal of any main characters would cause the show to go downhill. That might be true, but there's also a chance that it'd end up making the series more interesting, especially when fans are asking for it. And on top of that, some fans believe that some characters don't even have an aim. Look at Sarah, Pope, Kiara, and JJ. You'll know what being aimless means. The characters, who are somewhat in the background, don't really have a proper destination or task to complete.
What was that?
Amazing. A text from our friend Jimmy Portis.
And that's something that fans have noticed a lot. But I'll have to say that these are also the characters who've kept the series afloat. Kiara's role had an expansion in the second season when the Pope found out some family ties to the treasure. So yes, there have been advancements, but not enough to make them look like they are important for the plot. Also, the showrunners seem to believe that throwing artificial roadblocks will keep the otherwise sparse plot going. Oh, and the fact they've also been trying to keep the characters of color involved seems like a good thing, but it also feels like they're trying too much. All in all, fans think that the show is stretching the treasure hunt theme so that it can fit the series for a little more time, maybe for another season or two. Some critics have also stated their opinion, and I might agree with them. Critics believe that the fans never started watching the series for the story. The thing is that Outer Banks was released during the pandemic, and at that time people needed some way out. They only started watching the series because it looked like an islandy respite in the early pandemic era. They were mostly watching the show to enjoy their struggles, while some entitled white villains wanted them to find some item. And honestly, some simply wanted to enjoy watching some hot teens glistening in the North Carolina sun. This isn't something I'm saying, it's the Rolling Stone critics who believe that this is what happened.
Because of it, okay? So don't get that look when I say I'm a victim, all right? I am. Orders?
All in all, even these critics believe that Season 3 failed to find any good reason for the show to continue with the story. While everyone believes that it doesn't need to drag the show more, Season 4 of Outer Banks has already been confirmed. And I won't say that they don't need to make a new one, because they've already dragged us so far, and another one is now required to even sum up the story. Can't leave it in between, right? Netflix recently confirmed that the cast would be back for another season soon. However, they didn't confirm the release date, but after this 4th season, I believe they shouldn't think of more seasons, unless the showrunners have something brand new to put into action.
He's ready.
I've come to believe that you and your friends are in possession of something that can help me get what I want.
Otherwise, it'd be much better to just wrap this story up and stop dragging the game now. One thing they could do is come up with a spin-off or something like that. Apparently, this 4th season should answer two things. First of all, it should tell the fans what happened during the 18-month time jump. And secondly, it should talk about all the treasure hunt thingy, and maybe we should now be able to see what this treasure is like as well. For now, there aren't any announcements about what exactly the series would be like. The creator has said that he can't put a real number on it right now. In fact, he's also stated that they have no idea how long it'd take for them to reach the end of the story, and also that it's hard to just leave it in between. So apparently they hope to stretch it as long as possible. Don't expect them to stop dragging the plot. As fans, you've already signed up for it, and now there's no going back. They might end up making more seasons even after the 4th one, and this is all that fans didn't like about the 3rd season.